Hey Hebrew fans! So back in the 80s we got He-Man figures that looked like this right here, which were really cool figures. We really enjoyed them a lot, as you know. I honestly did. And you can see here's some details on the figures, like all the squares going up and the cross the way it is, and the circles across his loincloth, and his cuffs had little circles and marks on it, and then his hair was blown to one side. You know, it had lots of details. His furry boots, all kinds of stuff. And he had a battle axe, and he had a shield, and just awesome figures. And in our comics, we got some He-Man figures that looked a little bit different, but still very similar. You can see we had kind of a longer looking He-Man hair. Let's see if I can find some pictures of He-Man now. Skeletor looked a lot different too. You can see just shows his hair kind of being long and straggly there. There we go. There's a front view there. And in this one, he has no arm cuff on this side and an arm cuff on there, and a knife in the boot usually you would have in the comics. And just a little bit different than what we saw in the toy. But when it came to the cartoon for Filmation, we got something that looked more like this. Now this came out years later, and you can see this is reminiscent of the Filmation cartoon. No squares going up, a much more simplified symbol, no dots across here, no cuff marks on here, a very tan skin, and the boots were not covered in fur. And they did this so it was easier animation. Because this way, if they made some clips going to the right, they could then take those clips and mirror them and make them go on the left. This way it looked the same. Whereas the figure had a regular bracelet on this side and an arm little shield thing on this side. So by making the toy symmetrical, not the toy, the cartoon symmetrical, then they could use the right and left footage back and forth and just mirror it in order to use it. So what's cool is back in the 80s they had one commercial made by Filmation, and this commercial was before the cartoon. Before the cartoon, I don't know if it was even thought of or anything, but they hired this company, Filmation, to make this little clip showing He-Man for the toy line, and it's actually made more like the toy. In fact, I'm going to play this clip in a minute for you. You'll notice it has the squares, it has a lot more detailing on the parts, and it just looks more like the toy. Now, unfortunately, this video, I don't have an original. It was a copy of a copy of a copy. And by the time I got it, I tried to up the resolution to 1080p, and it just still looks horrible. I apologize for how it looks, but just imagine that it's the same video but crystal clear, and you can really see the details of how it looks more like the toys than the Filmation cartoon did. All right, so I've been asked by somebody, my friend Eric. He's like, "Why are they different?" That's why. Is the toy came first. The cartoon came after. Filmation did make a cartoon version, but it was for a commercial. And then when they actually decided to go full syndication with the cartoon and make the full cartoon, they decided to simplify the animation. They decided to make as many characters as they could symmetrical on both sides so they could mirror it left and right. That's why Man-at-Arms has armor on both sides as well, for the same reason in the cartoon. All right, let's watch this clip, then we'll come back.
It holds the powers of the universe.
He-Man, Skeletor has captured Castle Grayskull.
We must stop his evil power. To Grayskull!
Defeat He-Man's forces, but leave him to me.
Here I am, Skeletor.
He-Man! Skeletor is getting away!
But Castle Grayskull is safe with us.
Nothing safe while Skeletor is out there.
Let's see that one more time.
It holds the powers of the universe.
He-Man, Skeletor has captured Castle Grayskull.
We must stop his evil power. To Grayskull!
Defeat He-Man's forces, but leave him to me.
Here I am, Skeletor.
He-Man! Skeletor is getting away!
But Castle Grayskull is safe with us.
Nothing safe while Skeletor is out there.
Alright, so that was a pretty cool clip, wasn't it? I mean, you could see how more detailed they made that little cartoon clip. Now, of course, you can tell it was pretty forced the way they made it, because they made it just for the toy, so they didn't make a whole entire batch run of a whole bunch of them, because that'd be way too much work. So they only made the cells they needed. In fact, a lot of the cells for that 30 frames per second are running closer to 12 frames per second. I was tempted to speed it up, and I realized if I was to do that, then I'd lose the integrity of the original intent of the cartoon by turning it into a 30 frame animation. So you'll see that a lot of the frames are repeated 3 times within that 30 seconds. Or not within the 30 seconds, but basically you'll have 3 frames the same in a row, and then sometimes 2 frames, sometimes 3 frames, because it's actually running at 12 frames per second when they ran it. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I know it's a pretty short video tonight. Actually off doing something, so I can't be with you guys live. My desk is still a disaster. I got everything everywhere. And I'm still loving this Teela figure. She's so cool. And I still have my parts on order for my Batman horse that is still going to be made pretty soon, hopefully, so I can have an official horse. And I did order a second tail on eBay, so I can at least replace the tail on that other horse back there, since the tail will work, and I like this tail way better. So I did order another tail on eBay, and hopefully we'll get this horse built, the true Batman horse to use for Overkill. And it's funny is to me it looks just slightly green, and I showed my wife and she looked at it. She looks black to me. We took a really bright light and shined it on it, and then it looked green again. So I think that in normal lighting it actually looks black. I'm not sure, but in this room I got a lot of lights. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 lights shining on this from all over, and one of the lights is blue, and then I got this green cover here on the bottom, so I wonder how green it really is. I may have to take it in the sunlight and check it and see. But once I got the bright light on there, my wife's like, yeah, it does look pretty green. Anyway, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you guys next video. And if you're waiting for parts to be made, I'm still working fixing my printer. I know people are waiting for Cringer heads, and there's people that also want the cool helmet for their Panther. And so just stay tuned to my channel. When I finish making those, I will definitely put it here on YouTube. So subscribe so you can see the news on the new stuff I'm making. Alright, bye now.